Italy is a living museum, where every stone and street tells a story that shaped Western civilization. Walk through Rome or Florence, and you feel the echoes of emperors, artists, and revolutionaries. Italy's journey, from the rise of Rome to the Renaissance, mirrors the triumphs and challenges of humanity itself. This land's contrasts, from Sicily's ancient ruins to the Alpine peaks, reveal a tapestry of tradition and innovation. In this series, we'll explore Italy's epic history through its big ideas and remarkable people. No complicated dates, just the heart of the story. Join us as we uncover the enduring power, beauty, and transformation that define Italy. Before Rome's empire, the Italian peninsula was home to Etruscans, Greeks, and Italic tribes, each shaping its destiny. Rome began as a small city-state, rising through strategy and determination to dominate the Mediterranean. The fall of Rome plunged Europe into the Middle Ages, fragmenting Italy into rival city-states and kingdoms. Yet out of this chaos, cities like Venice and Florence flourished, sowing the seeds for the Renaissance. The Renaissance transformed Italy into Europe's center of art, science, and philosophy, led by visionaries like Brunelleschi and Botticelli. This rebirth sparked a wave of discovery and innovation, lighting the path to the modern world. Italy's legacy as a cradle of civilization endures, shaping our culture to this day. Long before Rome, Italy was a crossroads of cultures. The Etruscans in the north built advanced cities and influenced early Rome with their engineering and rituals. Greek settlers in the south founded cities like Syracuse and Naples, spreading philosophy, art, and trade. Italic tribes, Latins, Sabines, Samnites, inhabited the heartland, farming and forging alliances. These groups traded, fought, and learned from each other, creating a dynamic blend of ideas. Rome emerged from this mosaic, borrowing technologies and myths from its neighbors. The city's unique foundation set the stage for its rise. Ancient Italy's diversity was the crucible for Rome's destiny. Legend says Rome was founded by Romulus and Remus, but its real origins lie in a strategic village on the Tiber. Early Rome, influenced by Etruscan kings, grew through alliances and trade. In 509 BC, Romans overthrew their last king and created the Republic, a government run by elected officials and a senate. The Republic's checks and balances inspired political systems for centuries. Rome's survival depended on constant warfare, forging a powerful army and expanding its territory. Conquered peoples were often granted citizenship, turning enemies into allies. Internally, patricians and plebeians struggled for power, leading to legal reforms like the 12 Tables. This dynamic society laid the groundwork for Rome's future greatness. With Italy unified, Rome clashed with Carthage in the Punic Wars, emerging as the Mediterranean superpower. Expansion brought wealth and chaos. Generals like Caesar and Pompey vied for control, plunging Rome into civil war. Julius Caesar's rise and assassination marked the Republic's end. Octavian, later Augustus, defeated his rivals and became Rome's first emperor. Augustus preserved the facade of the Republic, but held absolute power. The Roman Empire was born, ushering in the Pax Romana, an era of peace and prosperity. Rome's legions conquered lands from Britain to the Middle East. The empire's reach transformed the ancient world. But beneath the surface, new challenges loomed. The Pax Romana brought peace, prosperity, and engineering marvels to the empire. But by the 3rd century, crisis struck. Civil wars, invasions, and economic collapse weakened Rome. Emperors like Diocletian and Constantine tried to save the empire with reforms, splitting it in two and legalizing Christianity. The Western Empire, beset by invasions and financial ruin, slowly crumbled. In 410 AD, Rome was sacked by the Visigoths, shocking the world. By 476 AD, the last Western emperor was deposed, marking the end of ancient Rome. The Eastern Empire, Byzantium, would endure, but Italy entered the Middle Ages. The fall of Rome reshaped Europe, setting the stage for a new era. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 AD, Italy was plunged into chaos. Germanic tribes like the Ostrogoths and later the Lombards swept in, shattering hopes of unity. The Byzantine Empire tried to reclaim Italy, but decades of war left the land devastated and divided. Italy was carved into pieces, Lombards in the north, Byzantines in the south, defining its politics for centuries. Amid hardship, a new medieval Italy slowly began to emerge. In divided Italy, the papacy in Rome rose to power, with popes like Gregory the Great defending the city and ruling as leaders. The papal states emerged, but popes felt threatened by the Lombards and sought help from the Franks. Charlemagne was crowned emperor, creating the Holy Roman Empire, sparking centuries of power struggles between popes and emperors. As popes and emperors fought for control, Italian cities like Venice, Florence, and Genoa grew wealthy and independent. Their power came from trade, banking, and fierce competition, both in business and on the battlefield. Rivalries sparked wars between city-states and within their walls. Yet this turmoil fueled a burst of art and innovation, setting the stage for the Renaissance. As the Middle Ages ended, Florence sparked a rebirth, the Renaissance, a time of art, learning, and new ideas. The wealthy Medici family fueled this revolution, supporting artists and scholars. Brunelleschi's dome became a symbol of Florentine ingenuity and possibility. Humanist scholars rediscovered ancient wisdom, inspiring a new vision for the future. The Renaissance is, most famous for its incredible explosion of artistic genius. Artists were no longer seen as simple craftsmen, but as intellectuals and visionaries. They began to break away from the flat, symbolic style of medieval art. Instead, they strove to create art that was realistic, emotional, and three-dimensional. They studied human anatomy to portray the body with stunning accuracy. They developed new techniques like linear perspective to create a convincing illusion of depth on a flat surface. This dramatic shift made paintings and sculptures more lifelike and powerful than anything seen for 1,000 years. Three giants of the early Renaissance in Florence led the way. The sculptor Donatello created figures that seemed to be alive, full of emotion and personality, like his famous bronze statue of David. The painter Masaccio used light and shadow to give his figures weight and volume, making his frescoes appear startlingly real. And the architect Brunelleschi, beyond his famous dome, developed the mathematical principles of perspective that would be used by artists for centuries. Together, these pioneers redefined what was possible in art and set the standard for the generations of artists who would follow them, making Florence the art capital of the world. This artistic revolution was fueled by patronage. Wealthy families like the Medici, powerful guilds, and the church itself competed to commission the greatest works of art. They did this not just out of a love for beauty, but as a way to display their wealth, power, and piety. Having a chapel decorated by a famous painter or a public square adorned with a magnificent statue was a status symbol. This system of patronage gave artists the financial security to experiment and undertake ambitious projects. It created a competitive market for talent that pushed artists to constantly innovate and outdo their rivals. Perhaps no one embodies the spirit of the Renaissance man more than Leonardo da Vinci. He was much more than just a painter. He was a scientist, an inventor, a musician, an engineer, and a keen observer of the natural world. His notebooks are filled with incredible drawings of human anatomy, flying machines, and military inventions centuries ahead of their time. His masterpieces, like the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper, are renowned for their psychological depth and technical brilliance. Leonardo's boundless curiosity and his belief that art and science were intertwined disciplines show the incredible range of human potential that the Renaissance unleashed. While Florence was the birthplace of the Renaissance, its ideas and artistic style soon spread to other Italian city-states. Rome, in particular, became a new center of artistic activity in the late 15th and early 16th centuries. Ambitious popes like Julius II wanted to restore the city to its ancient glory and make it the grand capital of Christendom. They launched massive building projects and brought the most talented artists in Italy to work for them. This period, known as the High Renaissance, saw the creation of some of the most iconic works of Western art as Rome took the torch from Florence. The dominant figure of the High Renaissance in Rome was Michelangelo. A sculptor, painter, and architect of immense talent and fiery temperament, he was considered a genius in his own lifetime. Pope Julius II commissioned him to paint the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, a monumental task that took him 4 years to complete. The result is one of the greatest artistic achievements in history, a breathtaking masterpiece of biblical storytelling. Michelangelo also sculpted incredible works like the statue of David in Florence and the moving Pietà in St. Peter's Basilica, creating figures that seem to be carved from pure emotion and power. Another master of the High Renaissance was Raphael. While Michelangelo was known for his dramatic power, Raphael was celebrated for his harmony, grace, and serene beauty. He decorated a series of rooms in the Vatican, known as the Raphael Rooms, for the Pope. His most famous painting, The School of Athens, is a perfect summary of the Renaissance spirit. It depicts all the great philosophers of ancient Greece gathered together in a grand hall, celebrating human reason and knowledge. The work beautifully blends classical themes with the artistic perfection of the High Renaissance, showing a world where ancient wisdom and modern genius meet. The influence of the Italian Renaissance did not stop at the borders of Italy. Thanks to the invention of the printing press, which made books cheaper and more accessible, humanist ideas spread rapidly across Europe. Students, scholars, and artists from Germany, France, England, and Spain traveled to Italy to study the new techniques and ideas. They returned home and adapted the Renaissance style to their own local cultures, sparking a northern Renaissance. Italy's rebirth had lit a fire that would illuminate the entire continent, pulling Europe out of the Middle Ages and paving the way for the modern world. After the Renaissance, Italy remained divided. Small kingdoms, duchies, and the Papal States, often ruled by foreign powers. But the dream of unity grew stronger, sparking the Risorgimento, a movement to awaken Italian identity and independence. Three heroes, Mazzini, Garibaldi, and Cavour, led the way, each shaping Italy's path to nationhood. The wars of unification transformed Italy. Cavour's clever diplomacy and Garibaldi's daring red shirts defeated Austria and toppled southern rulers, uniting north and south. In 1861, Victor Emmanuel II became king of a new Italy. By 1870, Rome was captured, and Italy was finally unified after centuries of division. Section 3. A New Kingdom and the World Wars. Creating a country on a map was one thing. Creating a unified people was another challenge. The new Kingdom of Italy faced enormous problems. Economic and cultural differences divided the north and south. Many relied on regional dialects. The government was burdened with debt. Leaders worked to build a national identity. Italy sought to build an overseas empire. Italy joined the Allies in World War I. The war was brutal in the Alps. Italy emerged victorious but wounded. Post-war chaos led to fascism's rise. Mussolini promised to restore Italy's greatness. In 1922, Mussolini became prime minister. He created a totalitarian dictatorship. His ambition was a modern Roman Empire. Mussolini allied with Nazi Germany. Italy entered World War II. The war was a disaster for Italy. Mussolini was overthrown in 1943. Italy became a battleground. The war left Italy devastated. After World War II, Italians voted to become a republic, breaking from the monarchy and writing a new constitution. With Marshall Plan aid, Italy rebuilt and soon experienced the economic miracle, rapid growth and industrialization. Companies like Fiat and Vespa became global icons, and millions moved north for work. Despite unrest and terrorism in the 1970s, democracy endured. Today, Italy is a modern nation, a leader in culture and industry, and a founding member of the EU. Italy's story is a grand epic, from the founding of Rome through the Renaissance to the modern republic. Its legacy shapes our world, from Roman law and language to art, music, and cuisine. Through centuries of turmoil and rebirth, Italy's creativity and spirit endure, making its history a living soul that inspires the world. Italy today is a vibrant tapestry, blending ancient traditions with modern innovation. Here, you can buy a ticket to a 2,000-year-old amphitheater with a smartphone. The past and present are always in conversation, making Italy endlessly fascinating. Made in Italy stands for quality and creativity admired worldwide. Italy's story is still being written, its legacy alive in every bustling city and quiet hilltop town.